Welcome to WTF, the show where we explore the role of women through film. I'm Gian.
And I'm Olivia, and we are two broke college students who have been friends for 8 years.
Here to rant to you about the representation of minorities in media.
For our first season, we are discussing women of color in American media.
As America is one of the leaders in media, we should lead by example for what other productions should strive to create and be mindful about what we consume.
Hope you enjoy, but beware of spoilers.
Welcome to the first episode of the WTF podcast. So we're just going to do some quick introductions to kind of show who we are and what we're about. So my name is Gian Vicente, and I am a freshman studying economics. So I'm a second-generation immigrant, so my parents are both Filipino, but I was born and raised here in the toaster oven that is Arizona. I'm also part of the LGBTQ community, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a complete dumbass, and my head is completely empty save for one brain cell.
My name is Olivia Wyatt, and I'm a sophomore and a half studying chemical engineering. I was adopted from Vietnam and have been raised in Arizona since I was about 4 months old. I am also part of the LGBTQ plus community, and my pronouns are she, her. I am the designated mom friend of a friend group, and have acquired the mom finding things skill. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a 2021 Marvel film, and it's the 25th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It stars Simu Liu as Shang-Chi alongside Awkwafina, Meng-Er Dong, Fala Chen, Florian Montiano, Benedict Wong, Michelle Yeoh, and Ben Kingsley. Shang-Chi is forced to confront his past when his father, Wenwu, the leader of the Ten Rings organization, draws Shang-Chi and his sister, Xialing, into a search for a mythical village along with his best friend, Katie. Together, they save the village from an evil dragon thing. This week is Lunar New Year and the Year of the Tiger. It is the largest holiday celebrated in China, and it's meant to bring families together. The Shang-Chi movie addresses another holiday in China called Qingming. The English translation is the tomb sweeping holiday, which is when families will gather together to pay respects to their ancestors. This is in other Southeast Asian cultures, such as Bon in Japan. It's interesting that they chose a less well-celebrated holiday in America as featured in this film, because most people don't think about like Qingming as one of like the main holidays that we celebrate here, like the Spring Festival, New Year's, or the Autumn Moon Festival.
And we kind of want to add that both of us have taken Mandarin classes before, so like, especially for me, this film does have like a special place in my heart. Since we both went to the same high school, we both took Mandarin for 6 years, so we are pretty familiar with the language and the culture to a certain degree. So we do have, although we're not Chinese, we do have like prior knowledge to the culture, and we can like speak to it pretty accurately, I'd like to say. I was really excited that the movie was literally half in Mandarin. I feel like since it's like similar to other shows or like other movies that we're seeing now, like things like Encanto and Coco, which have like language integrated into it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more movies in languages that aren't English, and like honestly other than Chinese or Spanish, because those are like the most common at the moment.
Yeah, but it's great that they're trying to normalize like having like not really like a foreign language film, but a film that integrates foreign languages into it, because a lot of people in America are immigrants, and it's really important for them to like see themselves represented in it. So having like a movie that's like a lot in Mandarin, even if it's like basic Mandarin, is still really impressive.
我可以说中文 So since the focus of this podcast is more on like the female characters, even though Shang-Chi is mostly focused on Shang-Chi, we wanted to kind of lean into his sister, Xialing, first. Did you want to give a little bit about who like Xialing is?
So Xialing is his younger sister, and they were really close when they were younger, when he was still training. And I really like that they show her like as this like little small child who's like trying to learn how to fight on her own by like watching everyone else. Like that's an impressive skill on its own. And then when he escapes from his father, she builds this entire like underground fight ring.
It was high-key really funny, not gonna lie.
Pretty good. Kind of fun, kind of fresh.
Yeah, so she's kind of painted as this like traditional female badass, and I really enjoyed like seeing her character. I thought it was like a little sad that she didn't have like her brother to support her, or her dad for that matter, because like throughout the film you could kind of see, I don't know if this is like, it was probably meant to be kind of like a representation like of Asian culture and like
Where,
how
like, boys are prioritized over girls.
Especially in China. It's kind of showing that like compared to her brother, she wasn't really taught anything, and she had to like fight tooth and nail to gain like the knowledge and experience that was kind of handed to her brother, even though more like of the quote unquote burden was placed on him, like to find the people that killed his mother.
Yeah.
You know?
I kind of like that they had like standard like badass woman who's like doing it for herself, because for her her whole endeavor wasn't like her trying to prove something to her father. It was like, this is something for her. She made the fight ring for her and for people who wanted
to fight.
Yeah, to fight, but it's not like for the glory of it or like making a point to someone else. It's for them. It's personal.
To make money.
I mean, yeah, but it's not like she went through all this trouble to be like, oh, but I can run the organization. She did it to get away from him.
Yeah. I also wanted to like talk a little bit about her mother's influence on her. Like, you could really see, like, in the beginning when they were kind of like a family unit before they like drifted away from their father after their mother died, like he treated them both like pretty equally.
Yeah.
And especially with her there, because I feel like honestly before that my boy probably didn't respect women. Shang-Chi's dad definitely didn't. Like,
I don't think he really...
I respected anyone besides himself.
Yeah, he didn't really drink, like, respect women. Just even after he got married, he was just afraid of her because she could, like...
I guess, yeah, she could, like, beat his ass, and I think that was mostly why he respected her and his children.
He was like, wow, someone who can beat me even when I have these magical powers. And we're like, uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
That fight scene, though.
Uh-huh.
Their intro fight scene.
It was so stupid. Okay, so in, like, the beginning when their mom and dad met each other, there was this, like, really dumb fight scene that had, like, really exaggerated choreography and was very unrealistic. I guess you could say that for any, like, fight scene in a superhero movie, but, like, this one was, like... This one was like... a special brand of, like, unbelievable.
It's them trying to integrate romance into this first meeting kind of fight, which is weird.
Yeah. The choreography wasn't my favorite. Even, like, through the end of the film, like, when they used similar techniques, I was still kind of like, this is really weird.
I mean, with the aunt, I liked when she was showing, like, Shang-Chi how to fight. It was supposed to be like an imitation of like what happened.
Of her father and mother.
Yeah, his father and mother. But I kind of like that they did like a mirror of their fight scene, because it's important for him to recognize that he's standing up to this person. Like, he's stepping into this role where he's now in a position of power where he has to do something, and it's against his father who trained him.
Yeah. But, like, okay, a part of the, like, her character, I don't know if this, like, bothered me, if it's just, like, my brain making up a problem, but, like, especially at the end, like, I feel like, Xiaoling's character felt, like, a little manufactured to be, like, the kind of, like, women empowerment thing.
Yeah, I definitely kind of got that feel. I do understand where it's coming from, especially because, like, we've had characters who are like that a lot. Like Mulan, especially, is one of those characters.
Oh my god!
Like, manufactured to try to like fulfill this.
Yeah. Okay. Can we go on like a little bit of a tangent about Mulan? Okay. So the live action Mulan movie, in my humble opinion, was horrible. Okay, it was so bad. Like, okay. Maybe they were trying to be like a little more culturally accurate and trying to like respect like Chinese people or whatever, but like that's not what they did. That's definitely not what they did.
No, the issue is, so the animated movie wasn't true to the legend for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but then
they took out
the live action movie was also not true to the legend.
Right, and they took out all of the parts that people liked about the animated film. So it's this weird thing that they tried to do where it's like, you tried to do a remake of it, but you took out all the parts that people liked and didn't even get closer to the source material.
I know. It was really, really sad. Like, the Legend of Mulan is like, if you want to remake it
either
the
the
right
same way that you animated it
or
as,
the right
Right.
way, like that's more culturally accurate. Like, to go back, since we were discussing like female empowerment and like
Mhm.
how it felt so manufactured, like in Shang-Chi, I don't feel it quite as much as with Mulan because I feel like her character is more like justified in a way. But for Mulan, it just felt like that classic. I'm not crapping on female empowerment, I promise. But it just felt so manufactured, and it felt like they were really trying for them to say, wow, look, a powerful woman, instead of, wow, look, an amazing person, and I feel like
Yeah.
that should be the end goal. So like in the animated movie Mulan, you get this sense of a like strong independent character, and you really see how much she cares for her family, her home, her honor. But then in the movie, or in the live action movie, she's like a piece of bread. I don't like I understand her motivations, but I only understand her motivations because I watched the animated movie. If I'm
Yeah.
being honest.
I also think with the live action one, they're trying to draw like a much larger contrast between her and her mother, mainly.
Yeah.
Because like her mother is like the dutiful housewife,
And
takes
she
care
has
of
like
her
a
family.
sister. I low-key forgot that she had a sister in the live action. And they're trying to like compare her to her sister, and it honestly felt to me like they were like competing with each other, and they say her sister's better.
Yeah.
And then in the end they say Mulan is better. But like
Yeah.
there's no better or worse. There's
Right,
just like different
Yeah.
types of people. And I didn't think that was like fair to either of them.
Yeah.
Like in their characters in the movie. So
I will add that Mulan has a little brother initially in the like
the legend.
in the lore.
Mhm.
But then when you went to the animated film, they didn't put in a brother. They had
put
a
a
dog
dog.
named Little
Little
Brother.
Brother.
As like the substitute because it's adding another character. But when they went to to the live action, I was like, why would you add a sister? It'd be interesting if you added the brother in to see how they're treated separately, even though she's older than him.
Yeah.
And how like
Ooh, I
they
didn't
might
even think of that.
because they might
Yeah.
be like they'd be training the younger brother
Mhm.
to go to war eventually because that's probably what he ended up
Yeah.
doing. So it'd be more interesting if they had the brother in there.
Mhm.
Okay, but we kind of went off track.
Yeah, okay. Speaking about siblings, we're
Yeah.
going to go back to our original sibling duo, which is Xiaoling and Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So, kind of on the note of like comparing siblings to each other. So, we know that Shang-Chi is like older, right?
Yeah.
So, a part of the reason I felt like this was kind of like supposed to be female empowerment is that they were like so directly like especially like near the end they were so directly comparing like Shang-Chi and Xiaoling.
Yeah.
Like they put them in competition, which I suppose it does make sense in the context of the story, but I don't know why. It just makes me feel a little uncomfortable whenever they have like siblings fight with each other in the context of like girls are better or like guys are like
It kind of just became a game of one-uppery.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just like through my lenses or if it's like genuinely like a problem or something they were trying to shoehorn in, but like I didn't love that aspect of the movie, like the sibling rivalry. I liked it much better when they just got along and they worked together.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your take on that?
Like having siblings, it's the way that it's usually filmed is either they're like best friends and they're gonna do everything together
Yeah.
and it's great, or they're so drastically different from each other that they're competing for different things. It's different between Xiaoling and Shang-Chi just because I feel like when they like first met up and everything again, their motivations were different. And then even when they're working together, yes, like you have like one singular goal, but then I still feel like where they're coming from and like what's pushing them towards completing that goal is a little bit different.
Yeah. Because obviously they're different people. They have different motivations within the big motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that is obviously a whole thing. But let's shift gears a little bit because we also wanted to talk about Katie, who is Shang-Chi's best friend of 10 years in the movie. So unlike Xiaoling, who's more of like the stereotypical badass who was like born and raised in like Chinese culture. Katie represents more of like the ABC or the American born Chinese. So like me and Olivia who were like raised in the States, I suppose. So for me personally, she was much more relatable than Xiaoling.
I think she also relates to you because she's like the comedic relief character.
Are you calling me the comedic relief character? I mean, you're not wrong, but okay. Sorry, continue.
Because she contrasts a lot of the characters in terms of like how she acts because she is the comedic relief character. She's like the fun one who's just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah.
Kind of deal versus like if you compare like her versus like Xiaoling, like they have such different personalities, but then that like one like quiet scene when they're like sitting in her bed in Xiaoling's bedroom in the compound and they're just like sitting and talking, like I felt like that was like a nice real moment between them.
Yeah,
because it's drawing the fact that yes, they come from two different like places in life and they have different perspectives of what's going on, but they can still sit and talk and, you know, act their age and like communicate like just as friends.
I honestly thought like her like power to like shoot arrows at the end,
that came out of nowhere.
I know, it annoyed me just a little bit. I think they were just trying to give her something to do, which okay, this pisses me off so much. Like whenever they like give a character an unearned power, especially if it's just to, like, give them something to do, as if, like, their value as a character can't come from just, like, being supportive for, like, the main cast or, like, just being themselves. Like, I get it if she, like, practiced more, maybe, but, like, it was one day that she was there, and then they're like, oh my gosh, you're so good at that. Like, what the heck?
Shooting a bow and arrow is so hard.
I know.
And her arms would have died during that battle. Like, it takes so much strength to, like, do that.
Especially during the stress of, like, the battle against this, like, giant dragon, and then she just manages to shoot it.
She should have gone to drive something. Like, in the first one, when she, like, during the escape with, like, the bus and everything, like, she's driving the bus.
Getaway driver. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that would have been so much better. What the heck?
Give her something to, like, drive. Either it's, like, some, like, weird motorized vehicle or, like, some whack aircraft that they created to like get Shang-Chi to the dragon thing. Like something like that would have been really funny because it's like transferable life skills.
I know. Oh wait, you're so okay. That would have been so smart. Because they're like whatchamacallit, they're valets in real life, and Katie's like a really scary driver.
But she hasn't crashed anything except for the bus, but that wasn't her fault.
I know. Side note, we both really, really love Awkwafina. Like, genuinely.
She's so good.
I know. I love her so much. She's so funny. I, like, wasn't expecting her to be in this movie.
It was, like, knowing her personality and what she's been in, like, more recently, it was kind of a surprise to see her in, like, the action kind of sector. Because she was in Crazy Rich Asians, which was a comedy, like a rom-com.
Yeah.
You had her in Ocean's 8, which was also like an action comedy. And then she was in Raya.
Oh, she wasn't she? Which is like an animated Disney movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is really interesting that she would be in something like this. I don't know. I really liked her in the movie regardless.
Wait, she's catching up to Ming-Na Wen in terms of legendary status.
Ming-Na Wen. My love.
Disney animated film, MCU, she just needs Star Wars.
I know. She deserves to be in Star Wars. That would be so funny.
Join Ming-Na Wen.
Join Ming-Na Wen.
Glory. We need an episode on just Ming-Na Wen.
I agree. I think Katie was honestly probably my favorite character in the movie besides the dad. You know how I feel about the dad. But I really loved her character. I like her little one-liners and her interactions with Shang-Chi. Like, I really enjoyed those. Like, one thing that, like, I don't know how I felt about it, but at the end it's kind of implied that she and Shang-Chi are, like, in a relationship or, like, kind of have a thing going on.
I don't like the romantic kind of aspect. Like, I'm fine with if it's romance in a film that, like it flows out throughout the film, that it shows that, like, they're, like, they show a genuine interest in each other. But this one, it's more
It's like they've been friends for 10 years.
It's not even that. It's just it's like all of their interactions scream platonic.
I know. Even like when the grandma was teasing them at the not teasing. She like genuinely wants them to get married. So there's like a scene. There's a scene near the beginning where Shang-Chi is like picking up Sean, I'm sorry. Sean is picking up Katie for work where they both valet, and then the grandma's like,
when are you getting married?
When are you getting married? And then he's like, we're just friends. And then she's like, oh, okay, go. It was so funny. I laughed so hard.
I love the Asian grandmas in films, though.
Me too. They're always amazing, never problematic. I love them so much. But she was, I don't know. Yeah, when he said they were just friends, I'm just like, I guess it could be maybe an end game kind of thing, like where maybe they're meant, like, quote unquote meant to be together. Like, I could accept it, but it was just so sudden the way they played it in the end of the movie, and I don't really like that they can't just leave it as like platonic, and they can't just leave it as like, oh my gosh, they're like best friends.
I like at the end when like they like leave together to go on like an adventure to save the world kind of thing, because like I can see where it's like, okay, so he's now the newest hero, and Avengers now need to like recruit him, and she goes along with him because she's like his support system. Yeah, because his sister's doing whatever she's doing, running a crime ring, I guess. Well, she did take over the family business.
Yeah, the family business of murder. It's fine.
So like she's busy with that. Their dad is like, I'm out. I'm done. I need redemption. With both of them leaving, it's like you could still have like a fun friendship between them while they're like traveling to save the world kind of thing.
But I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if it's just me, but like whenever it ends in like a romantic relationship, I always feel like they're just like using the girl as like arm candy or whatever, as like just like a comedic relief, like something like that. Like,
so she's just like another like checkbox, like,
on the list of like things to give like a guy hero. Yeah, but she's definitely not that, because she was like one of the main characters in the movie. She was like a real focal point. She had her own like little story arc. She's his like basically his entire support system, since like his dad is dead, his mom is dead. Did his aunt live? I can't even remember, but
I'm pretty sure she did.
Okay, that's good, I guess, but still, like, his family's kind of MIA, and she's kind of his, like, entire support system.
I mean, she's always been a support system, and they acknowledge
for literally 10 years.
Yeah, they acknowledged that when they were talking about, like, their time in school, where, like they were, like, he was getting picked on, and then she started, like, screaming.
Oh my gosh, the lyrics of Hotel California. That's what I'm gonna do from now on. If I ever get bullied or picked on, I'm literally just gonna start screaming the lyrics and the art of confusion, as Katie says.
Yeah, like, Katie herself is probably the most real character in the film. Yeah. She's one that a lot of people can relate to, either because they're an ABC, because they're, you know, looking to have fun in their lives. And
I'm glad that she wasn't an ABG. For those of you who don't know, an ABG is an Asian baby girl. And I'm glad that Katie was so derpy and wasn't actually just eye candy. That would have been sad.
Yeah, there's a lot of risk, and like we've talked about it in like one of our classes, but like how like a lot of like women of color are like fetishized because they're like exotic or whatever. It's weird. I don't get it, but I like having someone who people see as like a real person. This is someone in your life that you could see. Like Katie is someone.
Yeah, I would be friends. I would be friends with Katie.
Like Katie is someone in your life. You like there is that like one person who's like a little goofy, who
will, like, support you through anything. Yeah, I feel like she's the most relatable and the most, like, true to life, I would agree. So that, like, kind of emphasizes the more, like, how there are more than one type of women of color. There's more than just, like, the traditional badass. There's, like, the relatable one. Not that you can't relate to a badass, but, like...
Right, but it's more of... She's more realistic in terms of someone you might meet. Because the traditional badass that you'd see in a lot of Asian films, it's like the girl who can do it all. She knows what she wants. She has a goal in her life that she's striving for, and she doesn't care who's in her way, and she'll fight for it with all of her life.
Da, 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 Hotel California. And then there's that one.
Right. But it's like, yes, you're going to have people who are, like, very driven by their goals, and, like, they'll go reach that. Like, you have that with Xiaoling, and then you also have it with Mulan and other characters. But to have someone who... She's kind of someone who's just living life as she wants to.
Yeah.
And I think that's also kind of important that, like, you don't have this stereotype of, like, an Asian woman must have, like, a very specific goal in life where, like, she's gonna fight for it. She's stepping outside of, like, her traditional box and she's gonna do this and that's her goal in life and that's all she's focused on.
I also wanted to talk about, just very briefly, like, the casting and then the advertising for this movie. So, first of all, I love the casting.
It's great.
10 out of 10.
I love that. Also, the director, because he directed Minari, which was also, like, it's the Korean film. So, that was also, like, it was a Korean-American story.
Yeah.
And I felt that was so important that, like, the cast was all Asian except for, like, the canon MCU people who are not. And then having a director who is Asian, and he's directed Asian American films, and he has, like, a nice vision of what it looks like to have someone who is an ABC, to have those experiences, and to put, like, little tidbits of that in the film.
And the fact that everyone was actually Chinese. Like, honestly, like, I adore Lea Salonga, but she's Filipino, and she played Mulan in the animated version of Mulan.
Her singing voice.
Her singing voice. And it's like, when you have an opportunity for representation, I mean, I guess there's no okay, come on, Disney, where's my Filipino Disney princess? But, like, also when you have the opportunity for something like that. I guess that was a long time ago, though. Like,
I feel like it's different when you have animation versus
it
live
is,
action.
but, like, there are instances where, like, I'm trying to think of, like, the example, but, like, Kristen Bell, she, like, gave up a role on, an animated show that she was voicing to, like, give way to, like, another talented voice actress who could better, like, represent the character. Like, it's like that kind of thing. Like, when you have the opportunity for it, why wouldn't you, right? Like, when there's so much talent that's just hiding because you keep casting, like, the same people, which is unfortunately how the industry works.
Yeah,
once you get
I do get that, but also, like, I feel like it's so much different, especially because it's a singing voice. Like, she is not, like,
that's true. She's literally three singing Disney princesses.
Jasmine.
I know. Okay, Jasmine's, like, a whole other thing too. Like, man, that whole movie is just fun and problematic. But I mean, A Whole New World was pretty good, right?
Right. But
that's a conversation for another day, though.
That's a different one. Animation is meant to, like, take people away from, like, appearances. Because also, we have people voicing colorful ponies. Like,
that's true. My Little Pony is a bit outside the scope of what we're going to discuss in this podcast, unfortunately. But I'm sure if we had the time, Olivia would love to have a full series on that show. Okay, sorry. Well, as you were saying, ma'am.
No, but with animation, the point is to not think about who's behind the voice, but to think about what they represent.
Yeah.
Like, what their character represents, and then what they stand for.
That's valid. I felt that. But, like, okay. I'm glad that they did so well in, like, casting.
Right.
I'm really glad that Marvel didn't drop the ball on, like, the first like Asian American superhero movie.
Right. Like, but that brings me to, like, their issue with their advertising. There was no advertising nothing film, and I was so upset about it because it's the first Asian superhero they have. So I feel like that should have been a big deal, especially after Black Panther.
Yeah, they had so much, like, advertising and, like, acclaim and popularity from Black Panther, and then I don't know, like, I guess I would assume some of it would be attributed to COVID because, like, obviously there weren't as many people willing to, like, go out in theaters to see it.
Right, but it's still, like...
It's a Marvel movie.
It's a Marvel movie. It's on Disney Plus. Like, it'll be available there, so people can use that streaming
and they could have,
platform
like, pushed it way more.
Yeah, because
Like,
also, if they were worried about it, like, being during COVID, they also could have, like...
pushed back the release date.
Right, they could have, like, pushed back because...
They pushed back Black Widow so far, too.
Like, they pushed other things. And
but then this one apparently wasn't a priority for them.
I feel like Shang-Chi just ended up being, like, the, like, little snack to feed the masses to keep them happy.
I know. And that's so sad because for a lot of us, it was such a big, like, especially for us since we have so many, like, Asian friends and Asian American friends. Like, we thought that this movie was a big deal. Mm-hmm. And we were literally the perfect market. We were looking for advertisements of Shang-Chi. And we could barely find any. Like, if we can't even find it after looking for it and looking forward to this movie, how are they gonna, like, cater to the people who maybe weren't looking for it but would have still enjoyed it if they did watch it? Like, obviously hardcore Marvel fans are always gonna, like, see the movies, but without, like, advertisement, like, you're such a big franchise, like, Disney is such a big company, and they put so little effort into, like, marketing this movie.
Right. And it's also, like, they didn't have, like, it wasn't, like, these were unnknown actors.
Yeah, like...
film. Like, Michelle Yeoh.
And, like, Awkwafina.
Right. Like, those two have been in quite a few movies recently. And, like, they have, like, a list of accomplishments that, like, they could capitalize on.
I know. And, like, a fan base. And even, like, Simu Liu, who, like, hasn't been in, like, that many... like, he did a fantastic job as Shang-Chi. Like, and then, oh my gosh, what's his face? What's the dad's name?
Wenlu.
Tony Leung. Oh my gosh, you know how I feel about him. I love him so much. Like, I adore that man. This is, like, the first thing I saw him in. But then after this, I was like, I need to see him.
Binging all of
I need to see him in every single thing he's ever been in. That man is my hero. Like, all of these people are, like, so amazing and accomplished. And then, like, honestly, if someone like Robert Downey Jr. was in, like, a movie like this, they would have, like, advertised it, like, to hell and back. But, like, because... I don't want to say it's because it's, like, Asian, but...
I don't think it was that. I think it's just because they were still working on the rest of, like, the MCU at that point. Like, they're still doing
just
Black
bad
Widow.
Timing, but also, like, if they can't make this a priority, it's kind of unfortunate that... Like, I feel like, you were comparing it to Black Panther.
Like, the lead up to Black Panther, everyone knew about it.
Everyone was excited for it.
Everyone was excited. People were, like, buying out tickets to go see it with everyone. And theaters were packed with people, and, like, it was so popular. And for good reason.
Yeah.
It's not just because it's an all-black cast. That's not the only appeal to it, but it is a big part of it. But also, it's a good story. They had comics to lead up to it, which Shang-Chi also had. Because they had the fan base going in for it. They knew this was a hero that they wanted before. So it's kind of like, it's such a... Just Black Panther was so much larger. It was almost larger than life in terms of, like, how well it was received and how many people went to see it. And then everything after Black Panther.
Maybe it was also the fact that, like, Shang-Chi hadn't really been in any movies beforehand. Like, that might have, like, played a part in it because, like, we had seen, like, Chadwick Boseman and his character, like,
pop up
before. In, like, he was a pretty big part in, like, Civil War too, and, like, Winter Soldier. So I understand, like, in that respect, maybe why people weren't as hyped for it because they hadn't seen the character before. But I still think that with the right advertising, it could have gone a lot further than it did for, like, representation within this franchise.
I also...
And, like, its popularity now.
Yeah, I also feel like they brought in, you know, from Doctor Strange, Like, he popped up.
Yeah, Wong was there too. Literally, they were just like, let's just throw every Chinese person in this universe into this
Wong
movie.
is here too. I'm like, okay, so Wong is
That
here.
was really funny though. I like
Wong
that
in
a lot.
Fight Club. Like, because they had Wong in there, they could have also put Shang-Chi and Doctor Strange at some point.
I know.
It could have been like, hi. It's like Wong's like, oh yeah, this is my friend.
Yeah, they went to China. Wait, they were literally in China in Doctor Strange.
They could have, it didn't even need to be Shang-Chi. They could have also introduced Xiaoling.
Xiaoling, yeah, because she was also in China, and she was running a fight ring.
Which Wong was participating in.
I know, right?
So it could literally just be, like, Xiaoling walks in, and then Doctor Strange's like, who is this? Why'd you bring her here? He's like, oh, this is the boss at my fight club.
Marvel, hire us. But yeah, so we can agree that they dropped the ball at least a little bit in terms of advertising and promoting this movie, which is unfortunate. I don't think that they did it like purposefully, but I do think that they did not do what they should have.
There was a decision somewhere that said this is not as high on our list as some of the other MCU things. I feel like there had to have been a conversation where they're saying that like Black Widow is priority over Shang-Chi.
And then after that, No Way Home, which is also a fantastic movie, but it does star a white man, which is not what we're talking about here.
But it's also because, like, with No Way Home, Spider-Man was already established.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's why it was also so high on their priority list. And Black Widow, too.
Yeah, it's like when they already have a built
new superheroes. Okay, so how does it compare to, like, Eternals, though? That's what I'm curious about.
I haven't seen Eternals.
Oh, LOL. But I meant, like, the advertising. Like, how does that compare to...
Oh, I've seen a
Shang-Chi.
lot more on Eternals. Like, it keeps popping up in my YouTube would, like, be getting, like, Eternals...
but not Shang-Chi stuff.
Mm-mm. And also, like, my Instagram.
Eternals, but not Shang-Chi.
Right.
Okay. So, I wonder if there's a pattern.
I feel like it might also have to do with the cast. Because with the cast...
Oh, wait. It does have...
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Gemma Chan.
Oh, Gemma Chan. Okay, I forgive I forgive it. No, okay, Gemma I love her so much.
But also, like, Gemma Chan was already part of the MCU. She was in Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah, laugh out loud. I feel like we've talked about this.
I
can't believe you haven't seen a movie with Gemma Chan in it.
Hey, I have seen a movie with Gemma Chan in it.
No, you haven't seen this movie that Gemma Chan was in.
But I've seen other things that she's been in.
I'm not speaking to you right now. Oh my gosh.
We have two other things that we need to do a whole podcast about Ming-Na Wen and another one just
about Gemma Chan. I agree. Both fantastic actresses.
Love them both.
But, yeah, so... never mind. I forgive Eternals. Like, I don't care. Gemma Chan is in it. Like,
like, you have Gemma Chan, and she was, like, featured in the advertising. Like, it wasn't just, like, glancing over, like, with a bunch of characters. It was, like, she was featured in it. Like, her character had, like...
Because she is the main character.
Right, but she had, like, significant screen time. But because, like, usually you, like, hype it up because of Angelina Jolie. She also got a lot of screen time.
Angelina Jolie was also fantastic in that movie. Okay, sorry. It's very long though. It's very long.
Yeah. But I've with something like Shang-Chi, like casting was great.
Yes.
They had a great amount of people in the background, especially like on video. Like you could like with some of the choreography, like I could see that they were incorporating like aspects of either like traditional martial arts or like Tai Chi into it. So I feel like they respected that part of the culture, which I think is pretty nice, considering that like a lot of like superhero films are like punch, kick, shoot something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with like the representation, there are going to be like certain kind of things that like they think they need to have in terms of like what the characters are doing or what they say. Like in contrast, like when they had like the conversation at the breakfast table with the grandma and everything. Like,
but I mean, the grandma is the grandma. Like, I hesitate to say all Asian grandmas are the same, but all Asian grandmas are the same, you know?
Like, with that, like, that was fine. And it's, like, I feel like they were contrasting what a lot of, like, other Asian films have done when it's, like, sitting at the breakfast table, because you do have, like, the kid who's sitting there, and he's like, go help your father down at the store. He's like, but I don't want to. I want to go hang out with my friends.
Yeah, so it's, like, there's that issue of, would they be second generation or third generation? Is the mom, like, I don't know.
But it goes away from, like, the traditional idea of, like, filial piety, which, like, other
But
films...
also, that's kind of comes with being Americanized, right?
I feel like that was...
Oh my gosh, wait! There is Filipino representation in the MCU. Ned's grandma. And that's it. That's all of it. Anyways, sorry, continue.
Wonderful. It's like, with a lot of Asian films, they bring up this idea where, like, you have to respect your family and the things that they've done for you. Like, Crazy Rich Asians had, like, that as, like, a really big thing where like, he has to respect his family.
But they did have the theme of filial piety in terms of, like, the father, right? The father and the mother.
But I feel like them contrasting, like,
Katie's
Katie's
experience and then Katie's experience.
Right, because, like, Sean was raised in this compound where he has to, like, respect his father. He's the leader of this organization.
Also, his father's, like, 1,000 fucking years old. So, there's that.
But then, like, Katie's family is, like... Katie's family contrasts that, where, like, the kid is questioning his parents.
I mean, so is Katie.
Right.
Katie is also like, Grandma, I love my job. Like, shut up, Mom. Like, that kind of thing.
No, I get that. And that's kind of what I'm pointing out, where, like, his experience growing up was, like, what you'd think of, like, the traditional, like, Asian, like, growing up experience. Where when you have Katie, she's just like, yeah, no. I feel like just overall with the film, I think they did pretty well with having Asian female representation and also how they diversified it.
Yeah, and, like, how they not only had Asian female representation, but also, like, Asian culture, I guess. So it had focus on, like, everyone and, like, different perspectives from within. So, like, both people who are, like, first-generation immigrants, like Sean, and, like, how his, like, he and his sister have, like, a toxic relationship with their father and how their father treated them differently after their mother died. But then you also have, like, Katie, who is more of, like, a stereotypical ABC, and how, like, her experience plays out with, like, living with her family and, like, the expectations that they place on her and, like, her brother and stuff. So, yeah. Overall, I think the movie itself did really good. Could have done better on, like,
advertising.
The advertising.
I feel like advertising might have been, like, the only, like, big thing they dropped the ball on.
Yeah. Like, I think the movie itself is phenomenal. I loved it a lot. But.
Like, there are, like, minor things that are gonna, like, bother each of us, but that's, like, personal opinion. It's not saying that the movie is bad or anything. It's just there are certain things that are, like, well, maybe they could have changed this, but that's also, like, a hindsight is 2020 thing.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up with our rating of the movie. So, rating representation and then rating the piece of media. So, first of all, how would you rate this piece of media?
Piece of media? I'm gonna... Maybe, like, 8.5 out of 10.
I'll give it a 7. Okay, so, for me, a 5 is, like, average, right?
Okay.
So, like, a 7 out of 10 is, like, pretty well above average.
Yeah.
And then what about the representation meter?
10 out of freaking 10.
I loved it a lot. I would give it a 9. I'd give it an 8 or a 9. Yes. Okay. So thank you for listening.